Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alivia Ifnani Soliha. I will explain about my essay entitled the prophetic concept that is in the Quran and the relationship with COVID-19. Gift of God, the specificity and privilege of the Most High and the Almighty, to choose whom he wishes. Prophecy is different from the kingdom of government. Prophethood is not by way of inheritance and also can be obtained by increasing worship and increasing obedience. A pure prophet directly chosen by God. That is a privilege that is different from the kingdom or government. Some are still a little confused by what is a prophet and what is a apostle, clearly different. The prophet is a human being who was given a revelation by Allah, but it is not obligatory for the prophet to convey the revelation to his people. While the apostle is a human being who has been given a revelation by Allah in order to convey to his people or others. God chose his own prophet because God have a revelation that is belief or truth that must be conveyed to his people, because the prophet is a kind of receiver in the form of human who receive guidance and knowledge from the invisible world. Given the truth and resurrection of Allah is endowed with a kind of supernatural power through which the prophet works to prove the truth, divinity, message, and mission. The Quran has told of many miracles of powers on the prophets, such as bringing the dead back to life, healing the sick whose illness has been found, and predicting future events. Because the prophet have confidence in Allah and never forget the mission and goals entrusted to them by Him, they do their job sincerely. They have no purpose other than humanitarian guidance and entrusted by Allah, and they do not ask for the slightest wages or fees or replies to carry out their mission assignment. The Quran in Surah As-Su'ara has concluded what many prophets said to the people. Of course, the prophets have a message for their people that is suitable for the problems that they face. However, there is a point expressed in the message of every prophet. Each of them said, "I don't want your reward." Therefore, sincerity is one of the characteristics of prophethood, and that is why the message of the prophet is always firm. Having supernatural qualities, such as strength or miracle at work, unparalleled power of guidance. However, the prophet is also a human. They are like all other humans in general, eating, sleeping, walking, giving birth, and eventually dying. They are subject to various human needs. They are obligated to perform the same religious duties as the others. As Now the role of the prophet is the development of history has been clarified for a particular matter. What is the main object or final destination of the prophet appointed? In general, it can be said that the main object is the guidance, safety, welfare, and prosperity of people. If we associate in with modern times with the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is like the prophet of today are the presidents. But the difference between the prophet and the president is if the prophet is not obligated to convey revelation to his people, but the president is obligated to convey the rules or orders to his people. Namely, the president is obligated to look after and guide his people, to give instruction so as to maintain healthy and stay at home. For the sake of the safety of his people, the president provides all kinds of assistance such as washing soap, masks, or other forms of donation so that his people remain healthy and prosperous so as to avoid the COVID-19. Of the object, the prophets are dualists. In other words, their object double. One of their object concerns the next worldly life and human success in the next world. The other object concerns human success in today's world. To ensure human prosperity in today's world, the prophets teach about the science of social monotheism, and to ensure human welfare in the next world, they profit monotheistic, theoretical and practical monotheism at the individual level, which is purely and spiritual and intellectual problem. Like humans, reality is divine. Indirectly or naturally, he sought Allah. The explanation is that in some cases the introduction is a lower stage than the object itself, whereas in some other cases it is not. The latter is not the stake leading to the roof, nor the stone placed in the middle of the channel, not the crossing stake, but the knowledge gained by the lower classes and the knowledge that will be obtained in the higher classes and various stakes of the same reality. The relationship between moral and social values, as well as the recognition and worship of Allah on the other hand, is the second type. For example, a man who acknowledges the existence of Allah and worship, he cannot be indifferent to honesty, truth, justice, charity, sincerity, generosity, and forgiveness. All high and noble moral qualities and divine. There is a hadith that says, adoption of the moral quality of Allah. Though the noble character of quality is part of the recognition and worship of divine beings. For them, adoption comes from one's own desire to have divine attributes. Even though humans may not be aware of that fact, That is why, according to the teaching of Islam, good deeds and even polytheists will not be infined in the next world in they have noble qualities such as justice, generosity. Is the eternal miracle of the last prophet. The first miracle of the prophets is Abraham, Moses, and Jesus each had book revelation and the miracle of the place, different from their revealed books. They performed the miracle as a big flame into coolness and peace. Surely, each miracle is temporary and passes on its impermanent. But in contrast to the case of the last prophet or the end-time prophet, the book itself means its miracle. That is proof of his prophethood. The fact that the divine book is a miracle of the last prophet is absolutely in accordance with his time, the age of scientific, cultural, and educational advancement. The Quran has addressed a number of questions about miracles. This teaches that the divine message must be accompanied by a number of miracles, that the miracles are decisive and tangible evidence that the prophets work miracle on the will or command of Allah, and that they work to provide proof in the truth, and that they were not bound to uphold the request everyone in this matter. In other words, prophets were not expected to have miracle or to establish their own business or factories. In the Quran, it describes the miracle of the people and clear sign and evidence and considers them to be convincing and reasonable evidence of the existence of Allah in the same way, because it considers creation as proof of his existence that is indisputable by any. Deals in detail about miracle. It considers demanding people for a miracle, and if they refuse to submit to the prophets unless a sign is directed at them, to be reasonable and justified, as long as the request is not made to be a hidden image or motive or just a hobby. The Quran does not corner that miracles are merely persuasive arguments that are suitable for people who think simple and are right for a minority of humanity. The fact that Muslims from the beginning to the present have taken an unprecedented interest in the Quran, demonstrating their devotion to the prophets and the Holy Quran. They read in their prayers and considers it a good treatment to read in even when they are not praying. They really enjoyed reading it. Sorry if there is a wrong word. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.